Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of MI for Change. I am your host, Dr. Monica Gilbert, and today we're going to talk about a strategy or a type of mind hack that I like to use during our sessions with clients. And I've seen how effective it is, how powerful it is. And it's something that you're probably going to think like, well, this is just common sense. But sometimes these things don't just occur to us. We need to listen to a podcast or hear someone else talk about it in order to realize the importance of it. So we'll get to that in one moment. I recently went to the Mint conference. And for those of you who don't know what Mint stands for, it is the Motivational Interviewing Network of Trainers. So this is a very prestigious international conference on motivational interviewing. There's only about 1,500 members, and every year they take about 120 members. And this year I was one of them. So I am so gracious. I'm so just grateful for being able to be part of that. And we did learn a lot, and it was just very, I think, life changing. I know it sounds dramatic, but it really was. And I encourage those of you who are really in the track of just becoming better at using motivational interviewing skills, those of you who have seen how effective it is, if you want to go that next step, join Mint. More so if you're a behavior analyst, because I don't think there's a lot of us in there. And it's definitely something that will transform the way that you do things. And it's not very easy to get in. You do have to do a couple of role plays and you have to apply and you have to just show that you are able to effectively use motivational interviewing techniques in your day to day and in your practices. But it is definitely very worth it. So if you have questions about that, please let me know. I had a wonderful coach that coached me through a lot of the steps because you will need someone that can provide you with supervision or coaching before you do the role plays. I definitely think that that is important. I also offer them on my one-to-one coaching sessions. So if you're interested in that, just visit my website or let me know. And any other questions that you have about joining Mint, let me know. You can also Google it yourself and go online. All the information is there. But coming back to what we came to hear about today, I wanted to tell you about this quote that I found very powerful. And while we were in one of the Mint trainings, someone spoke about it. And I said, wow, I really love that. I really love this quote. And it is by Helen Mentha. And it says the following: be someone good to talk to. If you offer appointments, be someone worth going to see. If you do home visits, be someone you would want to let in your house. If you see mandated clients, be a relief. Why I think that quote is powerful is because every time that we show up to sessions, we have to think about that other person. How is that other person feeling with our presence there? And our presence is one of bringing relief regardless of whatever population you work with. You know that you're in the helping profession, so you're here to help, and it's really important that we acknowledge that and we take that. And sometimes for those of us who provide services in the home, we don't think about it too much. It's very robotic. We just go to the house, we provide the services. But imagine having a stranger in your house. Maybe your house is not as tidy as you would like it to be. Maybe now you have to wear clothes to walk around because there's a stranger in your house. Whatever the fact is, sometimes it can be uncomfortable. So remember these things when you're visiting clients, when clients are being sent to you, when you are just having conversations with them. Remember all these other backstories, and there may be things that we don't know about and that we're missing and that we have to acknowledge during our sessions. Okay, so um, recently, I had a very interesting conversation with a supervisee that, or a supervisor, she became a supervisor, a BCBA that works with us. And I was just kind of coaching her and telling her what to look forward now that she was a supervisor. She used to be an RBT, now a supervisor. And we were actually, I went with another supervisor. We were celebrating her during this dinner that we had. And she asked me a very interesting question. She said, well, when I think about the challenges that I may encounter as a newer supervisor, there's this thing about me where when I feel like someone is saying something that I know it isn't true, or they're making an excuse or whatever, it just shows up in my face. So you can just see it in my face that I'm judging, right? You can just see it. And I totally understood where she was coming from because that's how I feel. I came, from a family where they were a little judgmental, and I definitely know what that feels like and what that sounds like, where you have this ingrained in you. And so I told her, look, first of all, you don't have to change your face. It's important for you to have that emotion in your face and express it. That is what makes you human, and that's okay. Now, I think that's something that we should think about is what are those thoughts that you are having while you're making that face? And she was like, you know what? That's an interesting question. I really don't know what thoughts I'm having. And I said, okay, let's go through it and let's think about it. When do you think these faces come up? And we went through different scenarios, and we were able to come up that we're able to identify that she tends to have these judgmental face features, or these expressions in her face when she feels frustrated, when she feels like the other person is just not getting buy-in, or the other person is not taking her serious. And I said, okay, well, then it makes sense. It makes sense that you would have this in your face if this is the way you feel. Now, if you are already going to sessions, and this is something that I want you all to think about, if you are already going to sessions with this mind frame of, oh, this client is going to be resistant. Oh, here we go again. I know how they're going to greet me. This is just going to be like yesterday. This is just going to be so frustrating. If you're already going in with that mind frame, what do you think is going to happen? It's not only that you called it out in the universe, if you believe in that, but it's also that you're already predisposed and you've already set up the story. You've already set up how the interactions are going to be interpreted in your brain. I like to call this mind or brain hack, right? There's a lot of instances in our life where we have to hack our brain because our brain is telling us that something is dangerous when in fact it isn't dangerous. And then we're feeling all anxious. So sometimes we have to get a little strict with our brain and we have to hack it a bit and let it know who's boss. So what I told her to do was something very simple and it's something that I want to share with all of you. I invite you to try this out. Next time that you go into that really difficult parent coaching session or that really difficult session with your client, before you go into that session, think or tell yourself, today I want to go in with curiosity. I want to meet the client and try to figure out what's behind what they are saying, what's behind the resistance, what's under that waterline. Why are they not wanting to intervene the way that we spoke about when they've already said that it's the best thing that they've seen? Why is it that they're not moving forward when they've already agreed that this is a way to move forward? Or why are they stuck? So go in the session with the sense of curiosity. We want to go in the session with that sense of curiosity, of collecting baseline, of just finding out what's in the core, what's keeping that parent from actually doing this intervention, what's keeping that client from being consistent with their treatment. I promise you that if you go into your session with that mind frame and in that hacking your brain mentality, then it's going to be completely different. It is astonishing to see how what we prepare ourselves for, and that's why sometimes mantras are so important. It kind of like just unveils before our eyes. And if you want to take it a step further, you can even create a mantra. Create a saying or a phrase that you tell yourself right before that session. And again, it doesn't have to be a fuzzy, positive, everything's beautiful phrase, but a very realistic one that is very human to you. Because again, it has to make sense to you. But the main point is that you go into that session with that sense of curiosity, and that will make it completely different. Also, with that sense of curiosity, bring in the blank slate mindset. So, what am I saying? Whatever happened yesterday, whatever happened a year ago, whatever you've heard about, because sometimes we start working with clients that belong to another person, another therapist, and they kind of tell us their backstory. I always like to tell them, well, just tell me like some of the important things, but I don't need to hear about the drama with this person because it may be completely different with me. And of course, that's going to bias me into it. So again, go in with this blank mind, or this completely blank state of mindset, and then start your relationship from there. If it's a new client, the relationship that they had with other therapists or with other administrative staff or with other people may be completely different than the relationship they're going to have with you. Also, think that if you've been following these episodes, if you've been reading about motivational interviewing and really following it, you're going to now know how to communicate with them more effectively and in a different way. So that relationship is probably going to be different. Okay. So I invite you to do both. Go in with the blank slate mindset. And secondly, go in with curiosity. If you do that for your first sessions, I'm sure that you will foster empathy, you will have openness, and you will see more buy in from that client. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Motivational Interviewing. Please let me know what you would like to see more of, what you would like to maybe not see so much of. Any comments are great to hear. Also, any other topics, that you would like to hear about. I hope that now, after this episode, you're able to hack your brain a little bit more and go into your sessions with that mindset, that different mindset. I do also want to end it with perhaps an example, because a lot of these things are, I think, processed in a better way when you see these examples. So instead of going in with my goal is to teach you this skill today, which a lot of the times we just have our own agenda. We're thinking about, hey, I need to do this quickly. The time is running out. I have to get the results that I have to get. When we go in with that mind frame, it's really hard to be curious because you are rushing yourself, you're rushing the client, you're rushing the entire process. So instead of going in with that goal of like, this is what I want today, this is the change that I want to see, or I need to teach this skill. Again, when you go in with that curiosity, you're also asking more of these open ended questions. So I invite you to even ask the parents something like, tell me what you would like to hear from me today. What would you like to work on? Or what are some things that you would like help with? So start off your session with that statement or a similar statement to that and that open ended question in order to facilitate the rest of it, right? So sometimes when we start like that, the curiosity just automatically like seeps in and you start getting all of this baseline vocalization data, as I like to call it. They start telling you all the things they need from you, all the things they want to see, all of the ways that you can help, which is exactly what we're there to do. We're there to help the parent during the parent training session. We're there to help the client when they're going through these addictive behaviors or whatever behaviors they're dealing with, or help the staff when they are in a supervision session. So it's exactly why we're going there. We just have to learn to ask the right questions and go in with that sense of curiosity. So now I am going to say goodbye. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Any feedback is always well taken, and I will see you for the next episode. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of MI for Change. If you're ready to keep growing your motivational interviewing skills, I'd love to invite you to explore my MI Academy, where you'll find a full library of on-demand courses designed to help you put MI into practice with confidence. You can learn more at www.drmonicagilbert.com. Until next time, keep asking the questions that spark change.